Alrighty, we are live from Columbus, OH, and this is nope, it's not the Ramsey Show After Show. It is answering your financial questions live with Coach Steve Money, and that is me. Alrighty, and we have lovely audio, and it sounds good. Stream looks good, except for my hairline. Other than that, we'll take it. Alrighty. Let's get started, shall we? I am Coach Steve Money, and you're watching this on youtube.com/CoachSteveMoney, and this is my homepage. And for my financial content, just scroll past the Oak Island and Skinwalker Ranch playlist, and you'll see the after show, Ramsey Show After Show playlist. Over 500 and that 570. So tomorrow morning there will be one, and that will be the 571st after show, and that will be tomorrow at 11:05 p.m. a.m. after the Ramsey show, which starts at 9 a.m. on the YouTube. And the Answering Your Financial Questions stream, like this one, is at 8 p.m. And today is number 162 in that. So plenty, hundreds and hundreds of hours of me telling people they're doing it wrong or thinking about it wrong. So for your enjoyment. And the music playlist has 12 Ramsey adjacent songs in there. And so listen to those. No spending money to seem cool. Don't. When you run, baby, step down. And so that is the newest one. Shout out to Hootie and the Blowfish. I do my best Darius Rucker there, but of course not this. And I'll go over these again at the end. But the after show again Monday, tomorrow, August the 4th, and Thursday are the only ones this week, and that is the 8th. 4th, 5th, 6th, no, 7th. August 7th for the after show, and you're answering your financial questions, 8 p.m. And that's Tuesday the 5th, Wednesday the 6th, and Friday the 8th, and Saturday and Sunday the 9th. And that's 3 in a row there, and so I wouldn't, as always, subject to change. Subject to change. And let's get to some questions. What would you do? 27 man. Key the Zebra, frequent poster here. Or either I read this one recently. Let's see. Hey everyone, hi guys. I suffer from mental illness, bipolar, possibly more, and a lot of impulsivity, which causes me much distress in my life. I can imagine. Counseling. Must be neat, must be had. Relationship issues, depression, trouble holding a job, etc. Yeah. So you got the same problems everybody else does, but it's just worse for you because you got stuff happening in your head. I'm in therapy. Okay, great. On medication. Great. And doing my best to have a bachelor's degree. Okay. So work history, well, getting the bachelor's degree, not everybody has one of those. Not everybody can do that, so that's good. So work history for the last 3 years. 1 year as a freight broker. 1 year as a server, 1 year as a truck driver. Okay, Ubering for side money. I've been struggling to get new jobs as well. I studied supply chain management and project management, but my lack of experience has been an issue. All right, well, and that does happen. That does happen. You can even go to school for something, and then you get out with that shiny degree, and hopefully you didn't take out student loans, but if you took those out, you got those as well to pay back. And then they tell you, oh, well, you just have a bachelor's degree in it. You don't have any work experience in it. And so how can you get work experience in it if you can't get hired in it? Let's see. Currently Ubering full-time right now after my most recent crash out where I had to leave truck driving due to the loneliness. Interesting. Where are are we? I didn't know. Oh, actually, I did know because I did open it already. I forgot I opened it already. My bad. Because it's a longer post, so it doesn't fit all on the one card, on the one page there. Where is loneliness and depression? I live with family and I'm almost out of money after reckless spending the last few months. Yeah, and so that's something, you got enough problems. You don't need to be recklessly spending money. So you need to put safeguards in place so that you don't do that anymore. I feel lost. I wonder if anyone has suggestions of what they would do. You need to bring that up with your therapist. I also have about $45,000 in student loans, so I'm in baby step 2. Thanks, y'all. Yeah, and that is the problem, and this is the exact reason. Say, this is why you don't take out student loans, because the justification station is for student loans is, well, that'll allow me to get a good job, and then I can pay the loans off very quickly, except in your case, you didn't. And in a lot of people's cases, they don't even get the degree. And they can't do that. So that's why you don't do that. And not having debt makes everything easier. Like it would make even this situation. Not the best, of course, but it would make it easier. And so that's going to be a problem. But yeah, you're going to have to do something to put it in place. I don't know if you need to have a responsible family member be your power of attorney or something like that, and put some kind of checks in place where you don't get to have your money to recklessly spend it. Or you have to assume complete control of it now and stop doing that dumb crap. I exactly how that works, I don't know. I'm not a therapist, and so I don't know what you would actually do in that case. But it cannot continue to happen that way. Otherwise, you're just going to go deeper and deeper into debt and into the hole. On top of everything else that's wrong with you. That's wrong in your life right now. Bright Philosopher 531, skipping baby step number 5, which is save for kid college. And that is fine in the event that A, you don't have any kids. Secondly, you decide not to help them. You want them to forage on their, and that's 3 for some reason. It was only supposed to be 2. Secondly, you want them to forge out their life on their own, to build character or whatever. So that would be the reasons you would skip that. Let's see what this person is. I'm Australian, a student debt, HECS debt, and general views on attending college seem very different here. Yeah, that's just like in the bloody UK. Most people there, of course, take advantage of the system. They think they're taking advantage of it by staying into debt for 30 years. They make payments for 30 years, and then the government forgives the rest of the loan. And Mr. Ramsey didn't give a crap about that. The advice for anybody living in the bloody UK, in England, or wherever that kind of thing is happening, the advice is to pay off your dumbass student loan because you shouldn't have taken it out in the first place. And so the idea is to pay it off and not be in debt anymore, rather than running out the clock for 30 freaking years before they forgive it. So, but let's see what's happening in bloody Australia. I don't know. Let's see. Also, don't know anyone that saves for their kid college university fund. It's more towards a safe first car or house deposit. And Australians here. How did you do step 5? Can anyone explain the difference between Australian student debt versus America? Baby step 5. Okay, so on that step, has kids, I'm assuming. That's a good question. I do not know that. Let's just do a quick Goog, shall we? Shall we use the Goog? How do Australian student loans work? Try that. Gov.au, that would be Australia. Say help loan can be used to pay the student service amenities fee to pay directly to your provider by the government. And sound like that. Let's see what this is. Assist students to defer the payment of their tuition fees so they don't have to pay it up front and can instead repay it when they start earning a stable income, typically after graduation. So you see, to me, that sounds like a lot like a loan and deferred while they're in college, and that's a lot like it is here. So that sounds like it's not different at all. How much do you have to earn to pay back a student loan? It depends on how much. Minimum repayment loan will change from $56,156 to $67,000 in 2025, 2026. Oh, so at some point you don't have to? What do you do if you don't? So anything where the government is going to give you money for it, the Ramsey advice is no, and he doesn't care and I don't care. If you think that's dumb or not, if you think, well, I'm going to take advantage of it because that's fine, you go ahead, but you're not following the Ramsey advice, you're welcome to do your own thing if you want to. That is perfectly fine. And we could possibly even be friends. Depends on your attitude. But the Ramsey advice would be, you took the loan out. It's a loan, and that doesn't mean a gift from the government. That means you borrowed the money, which is against the advice. So even doing that part is not advised. I don't care if it ends up being free eventually. That's still a debt. That's still a no for Mr. Ramsey on the Ramsey advice. Gen now 70, retirement. I work in my local school system and have been for 18 years. I'm 54. Not still a baby, but a little bit younger than some of us. And I am hoping to retire in 12 years. That would be at 66. I will have my teacher's retirement, but I haven't put money into anything else. I have 2 children that I will be supporting for the next couple years as they enter adulthood. Alrighty, and that, like me, became a parent later in life, sounds like, and later in life than me even. Make $86,460 gross. The only debt I have is a mortgage, which is $193,000. I know I'm very behind in putting money into 403b or Roth, and that is my question. Which option would make the most sense considering how late in the game I am in making additional retirement plans? Well, you can do a Roth 403b if they have that option. If not, you should start with the Roth IRA. And any money that you are putting into that teacher's retirement, which is generally a pension, if there's other things in there, then maybe you are fine. But if it's just a pension, the pension isn't as good as the market. And so you only count whatever your contribution to that is, you only count it as half. So, for example, to make it easy, let's just say you're putting 15%. And a lot of people would look at that to the pension. You were contributing that out of your money to the pension, and then the teachers retirement association, whatever, the public school system, the government puts in more money than that. But let's use 15% that you are actually putting into it, because the market is so much better. That pension contribution you're contributing only counts as half. So instead of counting as the full 15% that you're supposed to put in to retirement on step 4, instead of satisfying that, that's only half of that. So that would count as 7.5%, and that means you have to invest 7.5% elsewhere. And the answer likely would be the Roth IRA first, but you can see if they also offer a Roth 403b through your job. Which I don't always makes sense. Oh, how late to the game I am in making additional retirement plans. That's still 12 years, and so you don't need to do anything like that's time sensitive. You can still invest in the market, and that's exactly what you should do, in addition to the your pension. But also, you still have that mortgage payment, and we'd also like to pay off that mortgage in the next 12 years. Don't necessarily know with 193,000 that's going to happen, but I'm going to go ahead and cut out some things, make $886,000 gross. I'm going to cut other things out of your budget and prioritize paying off that house, and then so that you don't have a mortgage payment in retirement. You also would not invest, definitely do the, in this scenario, in this, using the math, the numbers that I came up with, you would put the 7.5%, it counts as 15% that you actually put into the pension. 15%, but that only counts as 7.5% because it doesn't make as much as the market. And so you would do that. So that's 15% of your gross income there. And then you would put an additional 7.5% into the Roth IRA or Roth 403b. You would not invest more than that 15% total. And of course, it's going to be more than 15% total because some of it's in a pension, so it doesn't count as much as the 7.5% that you put into the market. But you only do 15% of gross income, while you prioritize also, like you wouldn't do extra investing and not pay extra on the house. Because if we look at the baby steps here, step 4, it says, again, invest 15%, and your pension only counts as half towards that, to your gross household income to retirement. But also, you'd save for kid college. I don't know if you're doing that. She didn't ask about that. But paying off the home early is supposed to happen, and it doesn't say in here invest more than 15% anywhere. Except maybe it says build wealth. That would be part of investing more, and you do that on step 7. And step 7 happens only after you're done paying off the mortgage as well, in addition to having enough for kid college, etc., etc. So yeah, this is that. Already did that one. What should I do before buying a house cash? Well, you have to be at least on baby step 3B before you would buy that house, even if you did have all the cash for it. Verada 25. Need advice / guidance. Okay. The quick synopsis is that I have no debt other than mortgage. Great. 15% goes to retirement, split into 401k that has match, and the rest to Roth IRA. The match would be the first amount that you would put. Here's the priority in this situation. You would do up to the match. And if you have any, but beyond that, the priority should be the Roth. So up to whatever you have to put in, like 12% get you 6%, that kind of thing. Or I think at my workplace, I think 6% gets you 3%, so that kind of thing. So I would put that in to get the 3%. I would put the 6% into it, and then the rest of the 9%, as far as it will go before it maxes out the Roth, if it does get you to maxing out the Roth IRA, the rest of it should go into Roth IRA, unless there's any left over, and then you go back to the 401k. Of course, my 401k is going to be a Roth 401k as well. I have to have a traditional for them to put the match in, though, because they can't put it into a Roth. So you will have both. types of 401k. Let's say I do use a credit card, but for the past 15 years I've not paid a penny in interest. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I have more than my emergency fund in a high yield account. You should not. Again, another thing you should not do, you don't have extra emergency fund or extra savings that aren't for a particular thing, like you would save in a sinking fund, like my favorite example for that, vacation or tires. That's a specific thing, and you are allowed to save for those, but you don't just have more than emergency fund amount of savings while you still have the mortgage. That's a no, no, no. Just like you don't continue to use a credit card for any reason. You know, you can just go ahead and do your own dumb stuff. You don't have to bounce it off anybody in the Ramsey subreddit. You don't have to do that. You can just do your dumb stuff like you want to do. I'm down to 78K on mortgage and currently already paying double each month. Great. Then you would pay more. You should put everything extra that you have in that high yield savings account for your emergency fund, everything beyond 6 months of expenses, that should go to the house. Should I start putting even more in mortgage? Yes, you do not invest more until the house is paid off, just like I just explained. Should I pull the excess emergency fund and put it on the mortgage as well? Yes, and you know darn well you should. Quit being stupid. You don't need advice or guidance. You just need to quit being stupid. This person is smart enough to know the advice, and that's why they ask. That is so dumb, people. The advice is very easy. You can follow it or not. It doesn't have to be this grandiose thing where you have to make it match up, or you have to have somebody agree with you on the Dave Ramsey subreddit. You think it matters if somebody dumber than you, maybe even, that's online, agrees with you? You think that matters one little bit? It doesn't. Shallow XXX grave, that's not happy. Debt free at 33, that is happy. We're paying off our mortgage! Exclamation point. After almost 5 years, 2 job changes and 4 kids later. That's a lot of babies. You know, not Brady Bunch level, but still, that's a lot of babies. My wife and I will end August 2025 completely debt free. Great. Just north of $300,000 chipped away little by little, cent by cent. And we're almost to the end. To be honest, you can leave out the to be honest. And that's what you get when you're 33. Is 33 millennial? Did that? I don't know. Anyway, but the older people have also picked up that dumb crap too, which I hate. I say a lot of stuff that the kids say now too, though, or even back then the kids said, but it's more making fun of them for being stupid by saying that stuff. I'm feeling more anxious than I thought I'd be as opposed to excited, relieved. Why? What now? Where does one place the drive and intentionality once the goal has been accomplished? Oh, you're not done. Fortunately for you, you're not done. We'll go back in just a second and finish that up. But, you know, I love to jump right in and talk. See this step 7, build wealth and give. And it doesn't say there a lot of it away. But that's what Mr. Ramsey says when he talks about step 7. He says build wealth and give a lot of it away. That step doesn't end. So you are doing that forever. You are also investing forever. Doing step 4, you are investing forever as part of building wealth. The only time you would stop investing is if you're retired and not working, and you would need that money to live on in retirement. If you don't need it to live on retirement, why not let it grow by investing it? Let's see what else. There's a lot more. Should have opened it earlier. Okay, there it is. Once I realized that August was our closeout month, I honestly, too much honestly. See, you don't need to do the TBH and the honestly 2 lines apart. It's like, I mean, it's so dumb. It's like virtue signaling. It's like it's like, oh, I'm an honest person. I don't know. But it's not even really that anymore. It may have started out as that, but now it's just because people repeat dumb things they hear people say for some reason. I honestly started to get stress high. It's been a whirlwind of an experience. Well, if you're going to have any stress over something, I would think it would be a good thing to be stressful over having a paid off mortgage and being in step 7. That would be a pretty good reason to get stress high. And eventually I think you would learn to deal with it. If you can deal with the sacrifice to do the baby steps, you can deal with not having to sacrifice as much in the rest of your life, I would think. It's a bittersweet, sweet then bitter, bitter than sweet feeling to realize the long journey is coming to an end. It's not, though. Recognizing we're about to be extensively cash flow heavy, it does bring a sense of relief and joy. You don't have to be cash flow heavy. You can do more savings as well. But it also comes with unexpected feeling of emptiness. I don't know why it would. I don't understand that at all. I can't relate. I can't relate. I don't understand. It would only seem to be only a good thing, and it would put you in a better position financially. And what a better position financially would be, like you talked about, extremely cash flow heavy, which that means you're not putting it to debt, you're not putting it to the mortgage or anything like that, but you need to be even more gazelle intense, or not gazelle intense, but you need to be intentional. You need to be even more intentional with it, because like I always say, the more money the person makes, the easier money can slip through, and not because you're not being intentional with it. So it's easier to, like, the more money that people make, they don't notice the $10 to $20 charges coming off every month that some hacker has got their credit card number and is charging something $20 a month, and they don't notice it for months and months and months and months, and that's dumb. So you still have work to do as far as keeping track of your finances, even after you're done with baby step 6. I'm sure once we're over the initial dopamine high, we'll reassess and set our sights on new goals such as renovations, or you'll find something to do. Yeah, maybe just chill. Overthinking is what you're doing. And stack cash for a few months until we are comfortable with our new normal. Yeah, that's also the beautiful thing about step 7. Then you can keep more than, if you want to, if you just want to for no reason, but just want to, or if it'll make you sleep better at night, you can have more than a 6-month emergency fund at that point. But not if you still have a mortgage. No, 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 no. For now, I'm going to stay locked in and close out August laser focused. Great. And you can still be laser focused. It's just going to be, it won't be on step 6. Won't be on steps 4, 5, and 6. It'll just be on step 4. And step 5, you still need to save for kid college. Got 4 kids. Have you got that all taken care of, or are you still working on that? That is something that you are still doing. So you could consider yourself still on step 5 if it makes you feel better. Don't complain about having a paid off house ever, like ever. Conscious Dot 7353. Driving a paid off car is the best decision I ever made. Sames. I ended up buying an older, reliable car, paid cash for it, and I'm so glad I didn't opt for a brand new car or car payments. I've saved so much money driving it, and it's such a stress-free experience. Do things come up that need fixing? Of course, but I fix them and move on. Currently going to drive it until it dies. Yeah, same with mine. I got a 2005 Suzuki Verona about 5 or 6 years ago, something like that. Bought it for $1,750. It needed $250 of work, so that equals $2,000. And let's see what else happened since that. Needed new brake lines, and that was, how much was that? 800, I think. That was not cheap, but so still, that is $2,800, and that has not been in payments. That was all paid in cash, and that has kept me in a car for 5 or 6 years now. And so no car payments. And so it has been fabulous. Now, of course, you are going to get people that don't buy a good car. Even if a mechanic checks it out, stuff can happen and you can have problems with a car. And so, I consider myself very fortunate for sure, but just because you can have problems, that doesn't change the advice to not get a car loan, not finance a car, because even those can have problems. Nobody can tell you in advance what kind of issues your car will have and when they will have them and how often. Speaking of car loans, I did notice this one when I was scrolling through quite a few times when I was getting to the right one over the past 4 or 5 streams. Task for force causality. Okay. Task for causality. My bad. Causality. Solving for subprime car loan. And this is probably going to be a thought experiment that doesn't matter. Let's see what's up. To be clear, no car loan is a good one, right? There's no such thing as good debt at all. Even a 0% APR car loan is a debt on something above your means. That's right. But today, double-digit rates of 15, 18, and even 21 and up are more common at those APRs. The car is underwater the second the loan paperwork is signed. Yeah, I mean, that's been a saying forever. It goes, you lose money as soon as you drive it off the lot. Yeah, that's been a saying forever. Getting a loan from credit union might have worked in the past, and that's still a loan, so that's a no too. But someone with a subprime auto loan was on the ragged edge of creditworthiness to begin with. That much is certain. And eventually you need to learn that this debt thing is not working out for you. They certainly won't have the credit to refinance or take out a gap loan for the underwater value. Yep, from where I sit, someone with one of these awful loans basically has 2 snowball the debt maybe. Keep the vehicle and earnestly hope they do. No, you would still be getting rid of it. And then you don't have to pay all that interest. You sell it for as much as you can, and you get a cheaper loan if you can. And again, if you had too much debt out already, and you were lucky they gave you the car loan, that you financed the car, then you may be in trouble and can't get another loan for the difference, the underwater amount. But that would still be the advice. And so what would Dave do? Dave would say what his advice is and not that. I'm not going to read the rest of it because, again, it's just some thought experiment here and not anything that is going to change the Dave advice, which, of course, nothing does. Guy in Nova, Northern Virginia. Dave Ramsey for the win again. May have saved my life. I lost my job and had enough to get through. I lost my job at the end of Feb. And I'm starting a new one Monday. Bloody Monday. Or no, Sunday, bloody Sunday. My bad. Just another manic Monday. There you go. That's what I should have done. Oh well. Take 2? No, you can't do that. It's live. That's a solid 5 months with no income. I was able to move the needle on my monthly expenses in some ways, but not that much. I did have to hit the emergency fund, but didn't ever have to wipe out a quarter of it. Great. I don't know how bad I would have gotten if I didn't have an emergency fund. I was already in very bad depression with life taking a dump on me pretty badly many times leading up to and after I lost my job. Well, great. That's why you have an emergency fund, and that's why you follow Mr. Ramsey's advice. Great. Captain Emmy, when is it clear you need a career change? Let's see, age 41. Fairly boring finances, but clearly not making enough to put away to build wealth. Okay. I'm a teacher. Husband is in security and planning on going back to school soon. Maybe shouldn't do that. Maybe that's not a smart idea. And I'm wondering if I should also plan a career change for better money. Right now, we bring in a combined income 110 grand a year. And oh, let me guess. You need to be making 150 to afford all the dumbass crap you bought or the big house that you bought. Now, I don't know that that's, what's going on here because they didn't say. It's only 3 lines long here. So they didn't say exactly what the problem is, but you would think there would be a reason. Otherwise, if the 110 was covering everything that they wanted or had taken on, then we wouldn't have this career change question. Now, would we? Because people generally don't catch a whiff of stuff early. They have to actually get into trouble with debt first. And so, and of course, the first thing people jump to is school, and then how is school paid for most times? Student loans. That doesn't help your financial situation at all. You need stuff that will change it immediately, not in X number of years when you graduate school, and if you graduate school, and if that works out for you, and if you can get a job in that field, and if you like it. There's too many ifs. This is why you do not take loans for that. Quit being dumb. I understand you might live in a higher cost of living area, but you need to be realistic about that. And if you bought too much house, you need to sell it and move down in house. So we don't know exactly what the problem is here, but the problem is the problem, not when is it clear you need a career change, because you might not need a career change. You might just need to make more money. You can keep your same career and maybe get a second job, or you can keep your same career and maybe move out of a high cost of living area. So we would have to find out all extra information there. There's 41 comments, a little bit too many to go through. A little bit too many. Too rich for my blood is the number of comments on that. But that's the general advice on that. There's something behind, not just, oh, I don't want a career change. I feel like for me, I should get a career change. There's something behind that. And the fact that husband is in security and planning on going back to school soon. For what? Again, probably to make more money. And so we'd have to have a little chat with these people. What do you mean, these people? Outrageous Milk 1535. Need a little help here. I'm arguing with some folks in r/Best Buy workers. Why would you argue with somebody on a subreddit? I don't know. I mean, I argue. I guess if you're already there, you would do that. I argue with people on the Ramsey show chat. Actually, not so much people as dumb trolls. But still, let's see about why I don't feel like the Best Buy credit card should be offered to everyone, which is the expectation our store managers set for us. Okay, well, if you are working there, and they require you to push that, they require you to ask everybody if they want one, then you have to do that. And so I would not work there. When I worked at Menards, they have a Menards card offer. I can't remember what bank they worked with for that one. But anyway, they have a Menards credit card. And in my interview, I told them I'm not going to suggest that anybody get a credit card of any type. And so they were fine. They hired me anyway. Worked there 5 years. So it was no problem. I'm trying to explain that for the majority of people, it will only do more harm than good. That's right. So we should, okay, so you see, you're trying to explain to dummies that, and really are normal, the using debt thing, the debt leverage thing. oh, we'll just put it on the card so we can have it right now, immediate gratification and stuff like that. That's normal. That's most people. You, sir, and me, sir. We are the weird ones in this case. So you got to understand that first of all. And people are just going to be dumb. And what you have to do, that's the reality. What you have to do is see the reality that people are just going to be dumbasses. And they're just normal. And that's going to happen as well. And you see that reality right in front of you, and you embrace it and give it a good, nice hug and go on about your life. We should not be putting any pressure on people, making them feel uncomfortable when they raise an objection. And some of these soulless, corporate loving hacks think that it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Yeah. And so, I mean, okay, so everything that doesn't involve you personally, you have to just let go. You are not going to change people. You're not going to change them. Especially like you're not going to change even the Ramsey advice. You think you're not going to change it? Even Dave Ramsey on his platform is not going to change it. I mean, a lot of people follow his advice, but do you think it makes a dent into the debt industry? No, not really. You know, maybe a teensy tiny bit, and those teensy tiny bit of people, I would think, we are very much happy that they're not doing that. But sometimes you just got to take the win that you're not doing it. And again, I wouldn't work somewhere where I had to do that. Can some of y'all help them to see I'm not the only one that thinks credit cards aren't that great of a tool and just advertising away? 31 comments there to give you some context on how utterly. Yeah, so this guy could be, honestly, as the kids say, TBH. He could actually be wanting the best for people and to try to get them understand that credit cards are not the way to go. But it could also be a dumbass troll trying to get people from this subreddit that believe in the Ramsey way to go on to freaking Best Buy workers subreddit and argue with people. And that's what trolls do. They go in the Ramsey chat all the time, and they like to say something controversial to get people arguing. So that's dumb. Dear Cantaloupe 8522, positive out of debt financial situation. I think it's if you're out of debt, that's always, would that not be positive? Let's see. This is technically due to Dave Ramsey. I do listen to his podcast, but don't necessarily follow what he suggests. Well, that's dumb as crap. But I did that too, so, and that's why I know it's dumb as crap, because I did it. Listen to his radio show back in the 90s. That far, I could have been so much further ahead, but I wasn't, because I was a dumbass. Follow what he suggests, but I want to share a positive finance story. Maybe he'll motivate someone. Maybe I'll motivate someone, maybe. 24 years old, was born and raised in America. Now I'm an expat living abroad. I used to have $25,000 of debt, most of that student loan. That was dumb as crap. And the rest a credit card. Now I have around $225,000 saved just from budgeting and saving money. Great. And not buying things I don't need. Great. Literally living with basic needs for a few years got me this far, and also an increase in income, which obviously was extremely helpful. I used to think that I would never get out of debt and would never have money, and there's more to it. I'm not going to read it. There's no need. But you don't necessarily follow what he suggests. Sounds like you do some of it. At least, like steps 1 through 3, it sounds like you do that part of it. Maggie Moo, 18. She's a vegetarian, something like that. Any advice? My husband, 28, and I, 25, are currently loosely, hold on, loosely, but don't let go. Following Dave's baby steps, and you should not do that. You should do them tightly. We have 2 cars, both beaters, only 5,500 student loans, and just about out and pregnant. That being said, we have never been able to save. We just have lived in expensive areas. Both have had to support the other at different periods of time and don't make that much money. You can't live in expensive areas then. Currently living in Phoenix, but are looking to move back to New Hampshire to be near family. If that's more expensive, that's going to be a no. We also have a few animals that we do budget for every month. 2 dogs and a horse. Sell the horse, of course. Of course, of course. Recently, my husband's parents had an incident and won a lot of money in a settlement. They have told us they will be giving us about $27,000 every year for the... Alright, now... Interesting. For the next 10 years, what do we do with this money? You would, well, I mean, I guess I'll change that. If you want to go move next to near family in New Hampshire, 27,000 will help do that. But also, you have to be able to afford that area. And it's not like it's, you know, it's $27,000 every year, but it's not, say, you know, for the next 10 years. So it's not like all 270,000 at once, where in New Hampshire, I don't know if you could buy a house there for that. 270, maybe, depends on what area of New Hampshire, probably. What do we do with this money? You apply it to whatever baby step you're on. We both decided we should upgrade one of our cars. No. To make sure we have reliable and safe transportation. No. If the other cars work, you all of a sudden don't need another car, a newer car, just because you're getting $27,000. That does not work like that. Save retain for our new baby. Justification station. Hey, guess what? A baby can be safe in a compact car and in a beater. My 2 babies are now 21 and 29. And hey, guess what? They're still alive. Shut up with your dumb justification about your baby. It's just an excuse to upgrade it because you want it. I really don't want to spend more than 14 or 15K. And again, I wouldn't say spend and do that. Now, if there's problems with those cars, you know, you can declare a time of death on a car, and instead of repairing it, get a newer to you used car, new to you used car again, a newer age or less mileage, or just one that runs better according to your mechanic. You can certainly do that, but you don't all of a sudden, just because you're getting 27,000, say, oh well, you know, my baby needs a newer car, needs a better car, more reliable and safe. Dumb. And then you say, well, but I don't want to spend more than 14 or 15K on it. That's too much. I guess the next question is, do we finish paying off my loans? Yes. That is what you do. Any extra money you apply to whatever baby step you're on. Sounds like you're in baby step 2. That means it would all go to debt until there is no more debt, and then you can put that 27,000 to whatever the next one would be, the full emergency fund, investing, whatever. I guess do we save it for hospital bills and other unexpected baby expenses? Yes. Well, that's the thing right now. Found out you're pregnant. You're actually pregnant right now. As soon as that happens, there's a little thing called pausing the baby steps, and that's storm mode for just a regular emergency, or for babies that's a stork mode. And so that's pausing the babies. Don't worry, the baby, where you're at in the baby steps, that'll still be there once mom and baby get home safe from the hospital and you have all the payments worked out to the hospital, and so you don't owe the hospital anything for the birth. You can pay in advance for that and maybe get a break on it, like a recent poster on Reddit did. You can try doing that, but you do have to, on your non-mortgage debt, of course, and any other bills that you have, all that, the minimums do have to be paid every month, but you don't put extra to them. Everything extra, you just pile up cash again until mom and baby are home safe. And we have settled with the hospital. We've decided that I will be staying home with the baby full time. Yeah, and there we go. And then there's income gone, and so you have to watch your expenses. But also rent in New Hampshire is so expensive. That's why I said not to freaking go there, lady. We have access to property in New Hampshire, and I've really thought about a tiny home because financing that would be way cheaper than rent in the area. Tiny homes are a no for Mr. Ramsey because they do not appreciate. We just don't know what to do. We've also thought about moving to the Carolinas because we have family there as well. But our ideal spot is New Hampshire. I don't give a crap. Your ideal financial spot is not in New Hampshire. So I would lean more to Carolinas. Doesn't say where you are now. Just some extra details for clarification. Horse is a non-negotiable. Yeah, well, see, I've had her for 14 plus years, and I'm a horse trainer. I pay less than $3,000 for an entire year. Yeah, hey. So you mean you don't have to sell the horse to get your baby safe and reliable transportation, huh? See, that's where people are nutty because you're saying this crap here, but what if I thought you had to get safe and reliable transportation for your baby, so you got to get a newer car. So why can't you sell the horse to do that then? And husband is finishing masters in a couple weeks. Average joint income is 65K. You're not going to be working anymore. Average joint income is 65K. You're not going to be working anymore. Well, I guess you could still do horse training. Is that what you're saying? You will still be doing that. So you didn't clarify anything here. Talking about clarification. Book beaters are 2005 Honda Accord and a Toyota Highlander with 280K miles on both. Okay, so they both have more miles than my vehicle does, but mine's a 2005 as well, and it's not a Honda or a Toyota, so much less reliable on the whole, on the general. So quit your whining, quit your justification. They both have broke down in the past year. Oh, and mine hasn't. One has a bent frame, hence the idea of one newer, safer car. No, here's what you do. The one with the bent frame, you don't put the babies in that one. How about that? Both cost between 3K to 4K to maintain every year. Okay. And yeah, I mean, that's more than my car costs to maintain a year. So yep. But yeah, that's funny. It's funny. You need the safer car, but I'm not gonna sell the horse. So awesome. Good luck to you. So a lot of justification there. Any advice? Don't be dumb. A lot of stuff you're doing is being dumb. Stop being dumb. And you know, what you need to do is think about how you would have handled life if you're not going to get $27,000 a year free every year, excuse me. I need help with career choice. Everyone's studying for the Utah PNC exam. I don't know what that is. Police. And aiming to take it by August 11th. Can you guys hear that cricket? Very loud. I'm currently working through the Kaplan manual. I don't know what any of that is. If you already passed and wouldn't mind sharing your top study tip or what helped you most, I'd really appreciate it. Tell me what's on the exam. I got a contingent job offer July 25th. They want me to take the exam, have the exam passed. How about we help with career choice? How about with English language? And have the exam passed, ED, past tense, by August 11th. I'm just stressed out, not I'm just stressed out. So you got it right there. Be consistent, people. I'm just stressed out because I have a 2-month-old at home that I'm still trying to take care of while studying over 600 pages of material by the 11th. I just wondered if you guys have any tips or tricks. I've been a huge follower of Dave Ramsey for a long time. So his following our people. So, okay. Huge follower of Dave Ramsey for a long time. And so his following our people I trust. And I figured maybe somebody had some no clue about any of that. Good luck to you though. Studying and taking care of babies though, that does happen. And oh, I wonder who else did that. Oh, actually, I don't know if he had any babies when he was in college. I was gonna say Mr. Ramsey. I know, yeah, I don't know when he went to college. Or even like when he got married. I don't know if he was even married by the time he was, or before he was done with college. Do Theory 7945 need advice? Need some advice here. This is my first post on the Reddit. Congratulations! I don't really have many people I can turn to with this problem. Well, okay. Thanks in advance. We have a $160,000 a year income. My wife recently informed me that we have $72,000 in credit card debt. And so you see, now unless she was purposefully keeping that a secret from him and wrecked that up herself, he's a dumbass for not paying more attention. So he should have been paying more attention to that. About 60,000 more than I thought we had. I didn't pay attention. There you go. So you were a dumbass. So stop being a dumbass. And I let myself be deceived. Was she actually keeping it from you, or you just didn't pay attention? Or was both happening, I guess. Both could have been happening. I sensed something was amiss. I sensed something. The presence I've not felt since. Darth Vader from Star Wars: A New Hope. My fault. It was a shocker. Okay, taking responsibility. Cool. Say my bad and tap your chest. That means that signals to the world that you are taking responsibility for it. But we have worked that out on a personal level. Great. Now you gotta not have a life while you pay it off. Now the financial level, we have $50,000 second mortgage. That's like a HELOC then, I guess. That is so dumb. Calm down, Ray. Everybody has 3 mortgages nowadays. They win the debt for their ghost busting business. Hey, I think it worked out for them. Hopefully they paid that mortgage off first before blowing the money on other equipment and stuff, but you never know. We have $100,000 in student loans. Sounds bleak. We don't have a lot of wiggle room in the disposable income department. Well, you know what we have to do? We have to cut things that aren't 100% necessary out of the budget. We have $15,000 in savings and both cards are paid off. Okay, guess where that $15,000 in savings goes? All but $1,000 stays as savings. That's your starter emergency fund. And $14,000 goes to the $100,000 in student loans. How about that? That's how that goes. You're undoing the dumb crap you did by saving freaking $15,000 while you had debt. Oh, let's see. Our primary home is valued at $425 and we still owe $170. Okay, well, how much do we make? 160. So 160, that's 320 and 80. So that's 400. So they were bought a little bit too much house at the time if they were making that. If they weren't making that, they bought a lot more. But as it goes right now, with just owing the 170, that's the number that you work on. And so that is affordable, probably. But if you have to move down in house, you move down in house to get this thing taken care of. We have a rental property that's worth around $290,000. We owe $67,000. 15 years left on the mortgage. Yeah, you don't buy rental properties on mortgages so that you sell immediately to get out of debt. Yes, you do. I don't care if you owe 60, just 67, and you want to stay a rental property, a landlord. If you want to stay that, I don't give a crap. You're selling this. We have family living there with health problems. I don't give a crap. That's you can't fix everything and fix your own problem too. You can't fix other people's stuff. And we just cover the mortgage and HOA. If we rented the place out, we could turn $1,000 a month. I don't give a crap. No, no, and no. If you want a rental property, you get your student loan mess and the $72,000 credit card debt. So that's $172,000. No, you are selling that rental property. Quit being a dumbass. My wife asked a couple of friends in the real estate business about our issue, and they have suggested keeping both houses and refinancing the rental, cashing out for. No, you are not going to pay off debt with more debt. No, no, and no. You already have 2 mortgages on something. I know it isn't advisable to refinance into a higher rate for a higher payment. Idea is the renters would cover it. No, they wouldn't. You're not going to fix it with more debt. Quit being dumb. Taking the low number of 40,000 from the refi. No, we're not doing that. No. Or we sell the rental, yes, and pay off the credit cards and the second and have money in the bank to start working on our student loans. No, you don't have money in the bank to start working on your student loans. All that goes to, you're not understanding the Ramsey advice. It's to stop doing dumb shit with money and you pay it all off. Use it all except $1,000 starter emergency fund to pay off all of your dumb ass debt. Hoping to use the paid off rental for retirement income. Too bad. You were hoping it, but then you did it wrong. Then you got the debt. You weren't paying attention. And surprised you're not paying attention because you're doing all this other stuff. You're scheming and scamming, doing all this other stuff, trying to debt leverage. And no wonder you didn't have your eye on that, on the stuff you should have had it on, because you were too busy looking at TikToks for financial advice. Or something else. We're bringing finances in realignment with the baby steps plan, by the way. Oh, you're going to follow the baby steps plan? Then you're selling the freaking rental. Quit being a dumbass. You know darn well you're not supposed to do that. And not supposed to keep that. I don't care if you want to. If you want to follow Dave's advice, I have a feeling that you know that's the right thing to do. And a lot of people just want somebody to agree with them for not following the Ramsey advice. When to start investing and how. Currently I have no debt. I have an emergency fund for 6 months of expenses. Great. Humble sinking fund, holidays, home repairs, etc. And allocate 20% of my net income to a 401k. Should only be 15%. Currently I'm saving for a wedding next year and eventually hope to save enough for a home down payment. Question is, aside from my retirement fund, when is a good time to start investing in stocks and how do I even get started? Thank you. You are not investing 1 penny more than 15%. You're already investing 5% too much. Okay? And if you're saving for a wedding next year and you hope to save enough for a home down payment sooner rather than later, you can stop investing in retirement completely for up to 2 years while you save up for that wedding and for the house down payment. You can do that again up to 2 years. After 2 years, Mr. Ramsey wants you back as far as investing into retirement. Back at that 15%. But again, you're putting 20% in, and again, I mean, I guess some people, because they're dumb as crap, I guess, they can look at this step 4 here and see where it says invest 15% of housing, excuse me, of household gross income into retirement. It says 15% right there. And so some people just gloss over that. I'm doing 20. That's more. That's great. So more is great. No, it's not. Because the reason why is because guess what you have to do with money? Even after step 4, you are having to save for college if that's applicable. And if you have a mortgage, but this person isn't, they're just trying to save for a down payment, which is step 3B. And so step 3B and 4 you can do at the same time with your choice of, percentages to each. Or it can be 0 to investing for 2 years, as I said, and that allows you to save up for the wedding and for the down payment for the house, a larger one faster. Paying off mortgage faster, and that's again what we do, larger and faster payments, and that's how you pay them off. And back to this, as we've had a couple today, like 3 or 4 different ones that all are the same stuff. Do you invest more while you still have a mortgage? No, you invest only the 15%. And that's not the same as saving up the down payment. This is you've already put the down payment and you already own the house, and now you're just you're doing 4, 5, and 6. These are done all at the same time, if applicable. If you don't have kids, 5's not applicable. You just skip it, and so you're just doing steps 4 and 6. And you would again only do 15%, not try to scheme and scam and think, oh, I should put more money into the market because the interest rate I have on the house isn't that much. No, don't do that dumb crap. Don't do that financial bro TikTok-y advice. Debt leveraging is what that is. You're debt leveraging your mortgage to have higher investments. And that's a no on the Ramsey advice. So that would be no. 15% gross household income, and that's all. Everything extra goes to the house to pay it off early. What don't you understand, people? I didn't listen to Dave and opted for a 30-year mortgage. Why? But we put 30% down. It still doesn't matter. You still probably bought too much home. See, this is why people do dumbass shit. 30-year mortgage. Probably got the 30-year mortgage to have more wiggle room, or they couldn't afford the payment on a 15-year. That's why most people get it, because they can't afford the house they want, and that means they're buying too much house. They're house poor. My take-home pay is around $14,900 a month. Mortgage is $3,900. So it's 4,000 times 4. That's 16,000. Yeah, even that's too much. That's too much. Right? 4 times 4. Yeah. That's too much. You're house poor. So that's a no. We owe about $650K left still. Yeah, that's still too much. That's too much. Because it's more than 25% of this $14,900. Even 15. So it's $1,100 more per month than it should be. And that's on a 30. So could you imagine on a 15 how much it would be? And so that's why they didn't listen to Dave, because he wanted a bigger house, which I don't give a crap about. We don't get everything we want in life, kids. That's called being an adult and accepting that fact. I'm paying an extra $1,000 a month, which matches closely with a 15-year mortgage, and we're still saving over 20% to retirement. And again, you don't do that. Why are people so dumb? It says 15 right here. Why are people dumbasses? Why are you dumb? Live performance 7662. Quit being dumb. Kids' education sinking funds will most likely be able to pay off the home within 10 years once my wife returns to her career. Currently a stay-at-home mom with 4 kids. Yeah, and when is that gonna be? See, you're thinking about that. See, people are so dumb all the time. Current net worth is about 1.5. It doesn't matter your net worth. Net worth doesn't mean anything. You're doing wrong. You're doing it wrong. You bought too much house. So you don't, only owe 650 left. 650. So what is that? That's going to be for. Let's see what the yearly thing is on the, because they've been paying it a while apparently. So we got 14,900 times 12 equals. So it's 178,000 take home a year. Like 179,000. 179,000. Yeah, and that's still too much now. Whoops. 179. Okay, I'll just remember add 1,000 to it times 1.5. Yeah, that's 268,000.5. 268,000. 268,000 and you owe 650. That's too much. You still owe too much. So that's a no on that. So how are you managing that? And justifying it that $1,000 a month extra would closely match with a 15-year. Yeah, I don't see how that's possible. You can pay it off in, so that's 4,000 a year. So almost 4,000. So with the extra 1,000, 5,000 a month, and it's 650 left. And you think you're gonna, let's see. So 5,000 times 12 is 60,000 a year. When they say they're gonna pay it off within 10 years. And again, that's once my wife returns to career. What if she doesn't? So all this is BS. You're full of it. You're full of crap. And you bought too much house and just don't want to admit it. Square Shock 9206. Thanks, Dave Ramsey. That's paid off, and I'm now a net worth millionaire. Here's how I did it. I really don't care specifics, but it looks like Ramsey's advice. How about that? Imagine that. So you don't have to break it down if it's all Ramsey advice. I guess some people might like to see it though. Might like to see the actual everything, but I don't need to know. Tomorrow morning it will be a Ramsey show after show at 11:05 a.m. right after the Ramsey show's over. Ramsey show now starts at 9 a.m. Eastern time on the YouTube, Monday through Friday. And let's take a quick look at some of the upcoming questions. Would I be unwise to use 2/3 of my brokerage to pay cash for a house? No, you would use all of it if you needed to. Because guess what? Should you have a brokerage account while you're in step 3B? No. While you don't have a paid off house? No, you shouldn't. I mean, I guess it was fine if you were going to be a renter for life, but the second you decide, oh, I'm going to buy a house, then yes, you use every cent of that to pay for the house. If you don't need to use a cent of that, every percent of it, then that's fine. But you would pay completely in cash for that or use all of it. Now, that's assuming that's not a retirement account in that brokerage. Taxable brokerage account. Yeah, I have just over 150K. Houses priced 1 to 120. Super fancy or chrome appliances. They're in pretty good shape. I live in fairly low cost of living area. Great. Use that amount to pay cash for a home versus a home loan. Yes. The advice is to pay cash for everything, including a house. That is it. But Mr. Ramsey will allow you, if you cannot pay cash for it, If it would take you forever to pay cash for it, he allows you to get a mortgage for that. And the reason is because 99.99999% of time it will go up. And it doesn't do that on cars. Where are we? I'm age 38, so if I don't retire until age 60, I still have a decent amount of time to invest and build wealth. Yeah, I have no problem when you're getting a house if you want to get a house. And that's not as expensive house. That's the opposite of the guy before that got a freaking still 650K left. Who knows how much it was when he first got it. And that's why not I chose to get a 30. No, you had to get a 30 year loan on it because you couldn't afford the house payment. Anyway, on a 15. Oh, where at? Oh, I'm not reading out, just giving the, well, I guess I'll go ahead and finish that one up. Hope I remember and don't do it again. I probably won't. Yeah, so that's fine. Besides rent, I don't have any other debt. Rent's not debt. Rent is like a bill that comes every month. Like your electric bill is not debt. So people are dumb if they think it is. If they don't understand the difference, they need to Google it. What would Dave say about I could do better long term if I wait for another correction, but the super stupid CD rates I have now moved to locking my money in for 5 months. The CD rates have not moved to that locking the money in. That's how CDs work. CDs lock your money in, so that's a no, and he doesn't recommend them. Easy. 100K invested at 21. If you're in college and you're not out debt free yet, if you still have student loans or something like that, you should not have invested any money. You're doing it wrong. You should just pile up cash until you get out of college debt free, have moved out of mommy and daddy's house, and you have your first big boy or big girl job. Every dollar estimated debt free date. Okay, interesting. Oh, not like you go out on a date on the date that the debt where you would the day how long it would take you to get debt free. I got it now. Mutually awkward former freelancer with Roth IRA. Now with the job set me up with a Roth 401k. What do I do? You might be better off, better served, depending on the investments allowed in your Roth 401k. The one at my job sucks in general. I did find a good one that I'm going to use to invest in to get the match, but the Roth IRA is still going to be my main source of, I am doing it the right way, the Ramsey way, so don't even come at me with that because I am doing match first. And I did find a good fund there. It is an index fund, but it is making decently. It is making more than the index, but an index-based fund. And where was I? Oh yeah, but I'm using the Roth IRA because I get better options in there for some reason. And the reason I say it's for some reason is because my Roth IRA is with the exact same company Fidelity that my Roth 401k is. But for some reason, you have a small number of options to go into. So I'm guessing that is making somebody money to do that rather than to have it opened up to all options. So that's when you would prioritize the Roth IRA. But first, of course, prioritize the match because that's 100% rate of return. Novel B, co-sign for kids apartment. That's a no. Worst case scenario is that you end up owing a lot of money. Because if they don't pay it, you have to pay it. They will come after you. So, no, my kids will... No, quit that dumb crap. Quit being dumb. That's a no. 25 years old, 75K salary, and bought a condo. How am I doing? Don't know that you should have bought the condo, but we'll look at the numbers tomorrow morning. Insurance question. As the family took out 2 whole life, you get out of those as soon as possible. If you are in bad shape medically and they will not give you a term life, insurance policy and you already have a whole life, then you keep the whole life, obviously. You get term life in place, and then you would cancel the whole life in any other situation. If you can get term life, you never, ever, ever, ever keep the whole life. It sucks as an investment and as insurance. Every dollar budget surplus. Okay, I don't know about what that's going to say. We'll get into that tomorrow. Can people please drop it about the $1,000 starter emergency fund? No, they can't, because some people feel like they need to disagree with Dave on stuff, and they need to, be anti-Dave or something like that, or they just want to argue, and that's step one. So that's the easiest thing to start with. And you get your standard quotes, shall I say, that people have been saying for years. Oh yeah, and it's how many? 41 comments before it got closed down, before it got locked because of people being dumb. But yeah, because like people say, I've been saying for years, and see, the dumbasses that call, they don't realize, and they say this, they don't realize that people have been saying this since I've been listening in the 1990s. So that means, how many years ago was that, kids? That was 35 years ago or so. So 30-ish years ago, people were saying, in today's economy, in today's world, with the current political climate, with et cetera, all of that stuff, they were saying it back then too, so that's not an excuse for you to do the dumbass stuff you're thinking about doing. Or a reason to disagree with Dave because of the economy today, in today's world, or any other dumb crap. And the last one we'll look at briefly, Gazelle intensely, how I save to pay off debt. And the way how you do that is you do not spend money on anything else. It's very, 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 very simple. All right, once again, Coach Steve Money, Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And again, after show tomorrow morning, and we will that's Monday morning, the 4th of August, and we'll get right to that as I give the plugs. Yay, plugs. You can schedule a free financial coaching consultation / assessment with me by emailing me, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Schedule changes too much to use a website. That email again, coachstevemoney@gmail.com, and you can hit up that if you have any questions about financial coaching, finances in general, or anything on my YouTube channel. Donations can go to paypal.me/coachstevemoney. Alternatively, the CashApp at $CoachSteveMoney. It wasn't taken. Or Walmart gift card to that same email address, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Upcoming streams, and as always, as of the last 2 weeks rather, they are subject to change. But the Ramsey Show, here's the planned ones. The Ramsey Show After Show 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday, August 4th, and Thursday, August 7th. The Answering Your Financial Questions stream, and that is 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the nights that I'm doing those, and that would be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, August 5th, 6th, and 8th. Alrighty. So thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. And as always, make smart, not dumbass. Make smart financial decisions every day.